because I go in on Sundays.
Sunday night. And we're live.
Hey guys.
All right, so hey everyone, how you guys doing? And I'm excited to be with you today. So this is what I want you to do. So call your friends, your friends, your side people, your main hustles. Call them through. Tell them that this is happening. We're talking about mental awareness. And the panel discussion will be starting in the next couple of minutes. So feel free to join through our different socials. JG Karaoke Foundation. That's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. That's where probably you're watching us from. This is the discussion that is happening today in Nairobi. So stand by. We'll be starting in the next couple of minutes. So for us in the studio, just smile.
Yeah.
Look amazing. As we get everyone to join in for in the next couple of minutes. So, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel.
Why do people say welcome to my channel?
Sikukaribisha watu.
But why do they have to say it with pay though?
What do you mean?
It's never like you're welcome to the channel.
It's live.
Yeah,
You're showing enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to my channel.
Siku sababu nini. It's like first impressions. Also because what I learned, and this is how I look at it, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, that's your online property.
Yeah.
That's like your space.
Oh, okay.
So it's like your home. It's like your home. So when people come, karibu.
But when I come to your
Welcome
house,
to my home.
listen, when I come to your house, we don't go like, you don't give me an accent. You don't
Stories
don't-
accent.
you don't
watch up
donjo
eh.
and go like, yo, welcome to my channel. It's
Not everybody
Karibu.
does that.
Hey,
Aki.
Instagram, Kwanza, YouTube. They always start the same, and they always sound like a blonde person.
Aye.
Right?
Aye.
No.
But,
No, I'm serious.
I feel like you're coming with like preconceived notions.
No, I always go like, yeah, I'm here. Okay. So
But also that tells us that you have a specific type of people that you follow. Because you're likely to see
Why you
what your
trying?
people
Okay.
follow. I mean,
Yeah.
Sema
not
kweli.
everybody
Who
does
are you
that.
following? Who?
No.
Like you're drawn
The
to some
majority.
kind of...
The majority of links I get,
Right.
essentially, that's what you first do. But yeah, but I get it. I mean, I'm looking forward to your we were saying Nyaje. Okay, lakini kuna wase kama
Exactly.
a couple here.
Yeah.
Nyaje, karibuni, na wacheki, mkufiti.
Welcome na Kenya na city down. Come on. Yeah.
Next answer.
Si karibuni. Like, it's good to
Same
see you
here.
guys.
Already sad.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody that's joining in, thank you so much for joining this proper conversation. This is the Josiah Foundation. This is the foundation where we deal especially with mental health, and we're majorly trying to tackle the issue that's around suicide. And whoever's out there, probably you think somebody needs to hear this particular conversation, especially of today's topic, which I think falls, I mean, all of us are part and parcel of this particular conversation. So feel free to reach out to your friends, your cousins. I want to say a special shout out to all the people that are watching from Kajiado. I had to put it out there and say all my Maasai friends. Yeah.
You know, I am a 32nd Maasai.
How does that
What does
work?
that?
You know the way you can be half, then a quarter, then an
Wow.
eighth, then a 16th, then a 32nd.
Doesn't count.
No, there's Maasai.
Not even you.
there's
Yeah.
No. My shosho is my mom's mother. Now her, she's like half. There's Kamba, there's Maasai, there's Kikuyu. So it comes from my shosho. Yeah.
Okay.
At a second.
And we're here trying to find where Patricia belongs in Kenya.
It's a 16th. Yeah.
But anyway, my panel is amazing. My panel is beautiful, and we tried, we shaped. I mean, that's the best we could get out there.
Consider yourself beautiful.
But I'll definitely start with Sheikh Simani. He's
Yeah.
a fitness trainer. He's an influencer. Can I use that word? And he's generally somebody you want to follow on your digitals because he gives you tips when it comes to your day-to-day life and how to keep fit, especially during this COVID season. So, karibu sana.
And after.
And
Thank you.
after. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and after. So, Sheikh, karibu sana. All right, next to him, we have the lovely Patricia Kioro. Now, Patricia is everything, put in one, in terms of she's a media personality, she's an actress, she's a singer, she loves taking pictures, she loves making food, Should I say that?
Sure. I love eating
She
the
loves
food.
eating.
Yes.
And she's also been in this social media game for a while, and she will definitely be sharing a lot of insight when it comes to that. And then closest to me, I have Kedoni Mbogwa. Kedoni is now, she's the one that will bring us to know and tell us all the scientific terms that we want to hear today. And definitely she'll be talking to us about how, especially to parents out there, how best to walk in these murky waters that is social media, and how parents should respond to their children, etc., etc. Now, the topic of the day is influence of social media on mental health. So I'll start with Shiv.
Yeah.
So maybe you can introduce yourself, other than what I've said, obviously, and tell us your social media journey. When did you start? How did you join? Why did you join?
All right. So my social media journey. I started off, I'd say probably 8 years ago, around 2012, 2011. And it was obviously Facebook, when Facebook was there, and it was the only like in thing.
Okay.
Then Instagram came along, and for me, social media was just a place to post things I think are cool, and I want other people to see that I can do, especially with working out. And the more I did it, the more I got attention from it, with people wanting to know more about what I do, why I do what I do, and how I can help them achieve this. And this is in terms of fitness, getting fit, how I eat. So I was just now sharing my journey. All right, guys, this is how I'm eating. This is what I eat on a daily basis. This is how I train. This is why I'm training like this. This is what I'm trying to achieve. And people now got interested in that, especially since it wasn't really been done on a big scale or social media scale in Kenya as such. So we kind of found an wide open space to come in and share my craft.
I mean, based on what you just said, do you remember your first ever social media, like your first ever Facebook post? What was it about? And then compare it to where you are or what you posted this morning. I mean, the growth obviously is significant, but what was it about it then, and how different is it now?
I think then we didn't really care too much about editing as much.
Picture.
Yeah, you just post, it just goes on, as is. Also a lot of memes. There was no like, oh, I want my page to look like this or certain way.
Aesthetics.
Yeah, aesthetics. It was just a video post. You're not thinking about what time is best to post, when's my audience most engaged.
Oh, really?
You're not thinking about all these things. You're just thinking, a video, take it, post it. No hashtags, no nothing, kind of thing.
Okay.
But you obviously see what's been done out there, and you see how you can grow. And the more you do it, obviously, the better you get. So you learn how to shoot the angles, the editing, and you understand how to engage more with your audience.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like when it comes to this panel, I'm the most basic of social media users. Because for my own is just to make sure I'm in studio. I make sure that I'm taking a picture. Yeah. And maybe I know a lot of other guys would want to probably, as much as we're talking about mental health when it comes to social media, but they also want to know how to grow their pages, etc., etc. Patricia, you've been in the public domain forever. Okay? And at one point or the other, your social media became an asset when it comes to your brand, or is an asset when it comes to your brand. It accentuates who you are as a person, essentially. Yeah. So, I mean, how would you say, or what would you say about your social media journey?
So I'm the kind of person I'm an early adopter.
Okay.
If you use marketing terms. So my social media journey began even before Facebook. There was this thing called High Five.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
There's also MySpace.
Wow.
Yes.
Mix it.
So I was
MySpace.
on High Five. I was on MySpace.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that just it for me, it just felt like, oh, this is something cool to share pictures or to share what's happening, to connect with people. And for me, I think the thing that I was excited about was then I would get to see what my family members around the world were doing.
So
Right.
it was basically about you and your family.
Yes, it was just to connect with family. Oh, my uncle in Rhode Island. Oh, so and so where. And then now people I went to school with, connecting with them as well. So High Five was for me the initial one, and then MySpace, and then there was Facebook, which I remember I was in uni when somebody was trying to convince me to join Facebook. And I was like, no, high five is better.
MySpace is fine.
That mature.
Oh my gosh. But then eventually, I joined Facebook.
Yeah.
I remember getting a Gmail account when Gmail was by invite only.
Yeah.
Like Gmail was not for everyone.
It's like
It
going
was,
to
you
a
have to know somebody from MIT who can invite 5 people. So I was like a friend of mine sent me an invite to have a Gmail account.
No way.
Yes, and I remember an uncle of mine, like it felt like Gmail was also like a
Like a hangout.
kind of
Yeah.
a Gmail.
Cool Kids Club.
But it was just because anything that was there to get on, I got on because
Yeah.
also I would get to see. I like looking at pictures.
Yeah.
I used to be a magazine person. I just used to buy magazines just because of the visuals. I just loved it. And I was also very interested in advertising
Yeah.
from a very young age.
Okay.
So social media for me was just a place to share my day, what I'm up to, what I'm doing. It still is, it still continues to be, but it's grown into that kind of, you grow your following, not deliberately.
Yeah.
People start to
Organically.
follow you because they like what you're doing. They like to see what you're doing. For me, because of my singing, Project Fame, acting on the TV shows,
Yeah.
The Changes, the Makutano Junctions, and them, being a radio presenter. So people follow because they were interested in what I was up to. But then I also enjoyed the content creation side of it. I have worked as a photographer at some point
Okay.
in my life. I used to, in fact, I was Emmanuel Jambo's first ever photographer's assistant.
Okay. You took pictures of Emmanuel Jambo.
No, I was
He's
his assistant.
Okay.
So I like taking pictures. I bought my first camera because I wanted to take pictures, and people who followed me for a while have seen that side of me as well. I also was a psychologist, which a lot of people don't know. So where she works now is where I did my internship, because that's where I studied that's what I studied in university, psychology. So all these things kind of just tied together. So the first time I ever worked with a brand, or was ever approached to
Yeah.
work with a brand, was when Talia and I used to do the Video Chronicles, and we would dance and put videos up every Friday at
Okay.
HBR.
Mhm.
Somebody offered us money to hold their their product. This
Okay.
was back in 2014. I remember we rejected it because we're like, hiyo pesa ni kidogo.
2014 pesa kidogo.
Even then we were just like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But then the first time I worked with a brand was in 2015, like officially. It was, a bank. And it was a 6-month engagement, and then it grew from there. So one of the things I've tried to keep consistent is the fact that what I post is not based on a brand. It's based on my life, and then I'll share whatever brands are in my life, and if they feel like they want to pay,
Yeah.
sawa.
I think that's a very, 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 very vital point you put out there in terms of you share your life.
Mhm.
It's not more or less what we see on the digital space today, where like one of my bosses calls it clout chasing, where you say, you know what, you sit down and your content creation strategy is what will get the most controversy.
Right.
All right, and if it's a talk video, if it's me walking out naked in front of my camera and looking like it's oops, you know,
Yeah.
basically I think that's the space where young people are, my age, to be honest, and I think that's a very important.
How old are you?
Don't worry,
When you
I'm
say
like
my age.
we don't talk about age.
We do.
Wait.
We're very open.
Yeah, it's okay.
After this conversation. Gavoni, you do a very special job at Chiromo Medical Clinic.
Yeah.
And I like you to tell us what generally you do and how it's beneficial to the general population.
Right. Before I answer that, let me just try and answer what my journey has been, because I
Okay.
feel that I've been in different spaces based on like when I started, when like Facebook and High Five started, and where I am now, because my journey now is more intentional. I've actually had 2 Facebook accounts.
Okay.
It got hurt, but I'm glad that it did get hurt. But when I was in uni, when I was in college, I feel like I was in a space more of just posting because people are posting, or
Yeah.
because you went somewhere, because you hanged out, because you were here, you are with this kind of people, just like that kind of hype without necessarily thinking in regards to how that will affect you.
Yeah.
10 years later, I mean, you're 19, you're 18, the things that you're doing. And then now that I'm a parent and I have this space where I have to impact a lot of people
Yeah.
and myself, my kids, and other people's families,
Yeah.
it's different. So part of me, I'm really, really happy that the page got hacked. Yeah, I'm not really. In fact, I tell people, if you knew me like 15 years ago, I'm really a different person.
Like if they looked at your social media 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Based on that, not personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to say that even like the journey, the question you asked, you were asking Shiv, the photo that you first posted and the photo that you posted this morning. And when I reflected on that, I'm like, okay, so growth also happens to us in regards to our presentation to the public, in regards to who we are as we sprout and we learn stuff, about life. Yeah.
Okay. I understand, and this is a question generally to all of us, but is it important for everyone out there to have a social media account? I mean, is it necessary? Can you walk through this journey called Earth and say, you know what? I genuinely don't need a social media account.
Yeah.
Deep thoughts.
It's hard to speak for someone else. I just say it's hard to speak for someone else, but I don't think you have to be on social media and show what you're about in your life and everything if you're not comfortable with it. If you feel like it's pressure, you're being pressured to do it, then I don't think you need to be doing it.
But it's the whole FOMO. I mean, people that are watching us, there's this thing for, yeah, Patricia posted on Instagram. Have you seen it? Then you're like, but you can't tell your friends now, like, I'm not on Instagram. You look like you're from, I don't know where.
Yeah. But, sorry, I think the more you get to know yourself and grow, I think that feeling of FOMO and missing out on things that at the end of the day are not really important to your journey, you get to understand yourself more, and that FOMO kind of reduces.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look at social media like a car.
Okay.
You don't need a car. There's some people who do. There's some people who can afford it. You can have options. Some people are okay with a Vitz. Some people are,
Bigger cars.
yeah. So, but at the end of the day, you can still live without a car, right? And you can afford it, but not get one. Like it's not a must. Social media, honestly, is just a thing that you choose for yourself.
Yeah.
And eventually, I think with age, you get to understand yourself, as he said, and then realize, is this something I need to be a part of? There's some people who are on social media, but they post nothing. They're just there to see, which is okay as well.
Right?
Yeah, which is fine. As my mom she has an Instagram page. There's one post there, but I know she sees my stories. She'll tell. In fact, she was following. I remember when she told me she has an Instagram page. I was like, you mean? And you don't even follow me?
Yeah.
But there she's following Sauti Sol. And I was like, Mom, you can't even follow your own daughter.
Yeah.
But she's there to see, like she goes, she sees what people are doing. She'll follow, she'll see what my cousins are doing in the US or whoever. And then it's not like she's there that much.
Like,
she's more active on Facebook. She's had a Facebook page for years as well. My grandmother also has an Instagram page. But
okay.
I think there was a day she was so excited about, I'm on Instagram. I don't think she's ever come.
But you see, I mean, like my dad has an Instagram or a Facebook page, and he sat me down and was like, "Nifungule," and I'm like, "Why do you want it?" He's like, "I want to see what you're doing." Do you get it? And I'm thinking, my dad is, a little bit over the hill when it comes to 60 thereabout, yeah. And I'm looking at him like, what's the conversation about? Because you see, social media has this feeling where it's young people conversing. I want to like your picture. I want to aspire to be like Patricia, or Gadoni. And why would somebody that's older join social media? And you see, I want to relate that to the younger generation that's coming through. Is it possible for a high schooler to know that, I don't deserve to be on Facebook. I don't want to be on Facebook. And it's not connected to social, personal issues. like, I don't feel like I'm beautiful. I don't feel like, and when you go to like Snapchat, people use like intense filters to beautify themselves, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So Gadoni, what would you tell a young person out there?
I genuinely don't feel that it's a must for people to be on.
Is it recommended? Would you recommend
I
it?
would look at it from the point of what is your intention? I mean, getting online. How is your thought process like? Do you want to get online because everybody is online and that is the norm?
Yeah.
Do you want to get online because you have something that you want to put out there and you feel that this is going to impact people in a positive way? Do you want to get online because you have a void that you're trying to fill? You're kind of
Which
trying
is
to
the majority
validate,
now? Ish.
Well,
Yeah.
human nature, I think everybody has that part of them that they want to be appreciated, whether it's your spouse, your partner, your kids. There's that need, even amongst your friends.
Yeah.
But what we are talking about here, what becomes unhealthy is
Yeah.
if your whole life is dependent on that form of validation. If you're not able to, pat yourself in the back and say, I'm glad I went and did that live.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Not whether or not who was there or if people watched. I think that is enough for you.
That's
Yeah.
important.
But
It's a
if
tool.
you're gonna go
Support.
back,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go back and say, I can't believe that we put all that time there and there are only 3 shares.
Because my next
I
question is
can't,
basically about likes, shares,
Yeah.
Right.
followers.
Yeah.
It's become today's currency.
And let
Right.
me give you an example just before you go there. In the space of mental health, there's so much stigma where conversations are concerned. And when I look at the difference between my IG and my Facebook, I try and post different content. So if I put out a photo on Instagram that maybe I did a makeover, the likes are going to be so many. And then when I go to Facebook and then I write this whole conversation about how we should support each other, how are you guys feeling? Share this if you'd like to reach out to somebody who is going through poor mental health. 1 like.
And that's
1
your
share.
friend.
Exactly, that's your
Actually in support.
that's your friend. So even the space of these people who are either not on social media or even the ones who are on social media, people sometimes I feel are intentionally there to look out for specific things. Yeah. And you asked me this thing about younger people. What I've realized is that what we do, like what we are trying to put out there in regards to mental health, and because of the stigma, not everybody will come and click and like, but somebody will still view that content and appreciate it and share and not necessarily click. So we can't just base everything based on
Right.
like likes and retweets.
Yeah.
I think, just to
Right.
add on that, I think you have to be, if you have purpose and you feel like this purpose I need to share with the world, then going online and posting that video or picture doesn't really affect you in terms of how many likes I'm getting, because it really doesn't matter to you, because that one person you're able to impact is enough. For me, that's fine. If it's just one person who will change,
Right.
I'm good. I'll
Okay.
continue posting for that one person. And if you're real about it, the energy will flow. If you're not, it shows. I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, allow me to be the devil's advocate when it comes to this conversation, because I want to represent the Wanjiku, the Karaoke, the Kamala, back or Nyango back in the street, And this question is to all of us. What's the one thing, or rather, what's the worst thing you've ever done to get social media attention? You did it, and then you slapped yourself on the face, and you're like,
Worst.
or rather, the pettiest. Can I use the word petty here? Or you did something, and then you're like, all right, maybe you did it 5 years, 8 years ago, and then now you look at it, you're like, why the hell did I post that?
But is that like consciously or unconsciously? Because
It
there
can
are
be.
things that we look back and you're like,
It can be.
I feel like your question is coming from the assumption that everybody on social media is there for attention.
Yeah.
When
I'm just trying to represent somebody out there that wants, that's craving for attention.
I'll be honest. In fact, and I've always said this, like, I really don't like attention. So like for instance, I think about my wedding day a lot, and I'm like, will I hack? Because the attention will be on me on that day, like me and my partner. Like
Yeah.
that's what a wedding is, and I'm
Yeah.
like, will I be okay? Because I feel like I'll just be shaking the whole time
Nervous.
because people are just looking at me. I feel like I'll trip if I have to walk down an aisle. I'm like, you know what? I'll just throw a party because feeling like everybody is looking at me is just like, ugh. And so a lot of times, social media, when somebody tells me, hey, but how does it feel to have all these followers? And I'm
Exactly.
like, now that you've brought my attention to it, I'm going to
Mhm.
be like,
No,
ooh.
no, right.
Because when I get on social media, I tend to not think that highly of myself. I feel like I'm just talking to friends that I haven't met yet. There's the friends that I have that I know will see it, but also I feel like, okay, I'm posting this, I'm talking to that friend of mine who I haven't met yet, but we're friends, right? So,
Okay.
but if you put it in perspective, this that day somebody was like, do you know how many people that is? Like, think about elections. Like, how many? And I'm like, guy. Like, it just made me like almost recoil because I was like, oh goodness, so there's nothing that I do for attention. I still try to keep the same mentality that, this is just sharing an aspect of my life. I value that, people respect or trust my voice. And for me, like, that is very important.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to what I share, especially when it comes to brands that I'm working with, I have to make sure that, by the time I'm talking about something, I'm able to fuatilia.
Plus, it's consistent with your brand generally.
First, even that thing of
Yeah.
your brand. Patricia, you're a brand. And I'm like, no, I'm a human being. Yeah. So it's and I'm glad that I have people around me, friends, family from way back who still, having them around me is the thing that allows me to still be a human being and not separate myself and think of myself as this thing or this
Being that's
being.
superhuman,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So
yeah.
not everybody who's on social media is there for attention. And honestly, please don't get onto social media looking for attention, because it
Yeah.
could be it could be great, but at this very same time, it could flip instantly to be negative.
Yeah.
So just go there because you're already secure in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you go there and you're confident that, like Lotan will, I mean, I'm good as I am. I'm just trying to invite, like you said, I'm inviting more friends to join me in this journey called
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Then I think the posts, the communication will take that trajectory. But when you meet people that are like, you know what, okay, how do I? Because I have a cousin. Yeah, let me tell you a story. She's 18, so she's very pretty. But sometimes she'll post a picture on Instagram. I look at it, and then I move myself from being her cousin, and then look at it from the eyes of like a regular gentleman. And the eye, she's trying to give you this eye like feast on me, like I'm like, then I call her and I'm like, so why did you post that? She's like, Evo 2, and that Evo 2 is backed by likes, After then 2 weeks later she'll forget. She's like, how many people like that picture? 800. You get it?
Yeah.
And it makes her look, I look at her and I'm like, is social media all about the plasticity of it? Is it that just at surface level, there's nothing deep around it? And I don't know, how would you advise me as an uncle? How would you advise me or rather, how would you advise her as when she watches it?
Huh.
Anybody, it's popcorn. Anybody can go.
I think for me, there's something that Patricia has said that, at the same, as in this could also turn out to be negative. Like the space between you getting likes and this being unhealthy for you or you being trolled.
Yeah.
It's really very blurry.
Yeah.
What I would tell her is to be more authentic in regards to who she is as an individual and what she is putting out there, and then how this is likely to impact her, not just now. Because I feel for young people, the focus is more on now, forgetting there's a whole life
Instant gratification.
that is ahead of them, and then there's the instant gratification. And usually how the brain works is that every time you keep rewarding yourself, it's like eating,
Dopamine,
exactly. So, and if she starts, noticing those things and liking those things, then that will start rewiring like her reward system, her brain, in regards to the release of dopamine. And it's so easy to be dependent on that. Remember I said, like, first of all, even kawaida, it's just human nature. Even when you tell your mom asante, they kind of feel nice. If it's going to 800 and all those things, and remember, when you're a teenager, your brain is also developing in other ways. That's the stage that you're trying to figure yourself, like, who am I, what do I stand for, what do I want. So that could really impact her positively and negatively. And I was reminded of when I started doing like mental health awareness. Obviously, maybe my numbers are not like their numbers, but my pressure is different in regards to, I wanted to do this thing, and there had never been anything like that in regards to mental health awareness. And somebody came on one of my IG posts, and then they said, "You're just doing this for PR." And I really felt, I genuinely felt, I really felt bad, because one, I'm not only a practitioner, two, I'm really passionate about this, and then three, everything that I do that is more intentional also comes from a space where I'm in a family that has also gone through some of these things. So there's so much passion, especially for the youth, in regards to trying to support them, trying to help them just love who they are and just love their space, and accept themselves for who they are, right? Instead of just trying to chase the wind. And it was really devastating. And when I had the conversation with my dad, he basically just told me, just start preparing yourself psychologically. If this is what you do, if you're going to be on TV, or if you're going to be online talking about this, you're going to have people who will appreciate you, and you're going to have people who will troll you.
And on that point for trolls, and this is a huge issue in Kenya. I accept and I agree that sometimes I make mistakes, right? And I make some genuine mistakes. I stole a picture from Shiv's page, and I want to look like a waiter. I put it out there, and I'm like,
"You did?"
I'm here. See, we are confessing.
That's an actual confession.
No. So I'm trying to talk about it hypothetically.
Right.
So somebody stole a picture of some really nice food from the restaurant and posted it, for the whole validation and everything. Then all of a sudden, KOT. Twitter, ABC, and it's all up in you. Then there's a whole, Patricia had a bad wardrobe day. Then now, KOT female side is all up in her biz, like, so kuna pesa, so kuna nini, unajua? And then there's a whole, you're a celebrity, born up on a mat. And instead of somebody greeting you on the matatu and a picture, then it becomes, like it's here, Alishinda TPF. Now we are budgeting your money for you. How do you guys deal with trolls?
I can actually, I actually had somebody ask me, "Patricia, how do you hide your face when you're on a boda so that people don't see you on it?" And I'm like,
I don't hide my face.
I don't think of being on a boda as something that's less than, but also at the same time, I'm living my life as I see fit. And I think that that's something that we have to, that's a responsibility that I took upon myself, because one day I just thought, hey, these magazines they really messed up my mind. Because they made me feel and imagine that having the perfect body means it needs to look like this.
True.
I don't have to have a single bit of cellulite on my thighs. No stretch marks. No, nothing. And it's only in my adulthood that I saw the impact that had on me. Because till today, I cannot wear shorts. Because why? Because of cellulite. Because I believed that it was a flaw. Right? And it's such an interesting thing to actually acknowledge. And one day it hit me. I would hate for anybody, any young girl who follows my page, to think that Patricia is posting her highlight reel, but they don't know that. They think Patricia is just, she's living perfectly, because somebody asked me, how are you happy all the time?
Exactly.
And I was like, I'm not happy all the time. What gives you that idea? And they're like, no, but you're always happy and you're always jolly. You know, I feel sad sometimes. And I was like, wow, madam, I also have my sad moments. And that's when I started sharing, okay, there's days when I feel like crap, you know, and also I haven't figured it out. So these days I'm just asking, hey guys, hey, kuna vile today, I'm just like, have you ever had a day where you feel like everything is falling apart? And it, for me, it was, I would hate for somebody who's younger than me to come to my page and feel like they're not enough because they're not like me. You get?
Yeah.
So I made a conscious decision that yes, I will post the good days, but also the days where I'm just like, hey, I'm really struggling. I will also talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? So that they can also understand that enyewe, hata mtu mwenye we're looking up to her, she has days when it's not everything is okay, and that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
So that thing about, so it was very conscious for me to talk about it. So even for me to say that I'm insecure about my thighs because of cellulite, imagine it's true, but you know, I have to acknowledge it, so that somebody who feels like, hey, Patricia must have a nini, kwanza now she's working out, I'm seeing abs, it's like, hey,
it's a struggle.
I'm going to the gym, yes. I'm not actually there working out with a smile on my face, like, oh my God, I love it. Because you know, there are those people who are there, they're just, it is painful.
The next day.
But it's something that I'm doing because I feel like, you know, I'd love to do this so that I feel my healthiest, I feel my strongest. It's not just about how I look.
It's all about you.
So it's for me, I would hate for somebody to leave my page and feel like I'm not enough because I have to be like Patricia so that I can be 100%. I want people to feel like, hey, me the way I am, kumbe it's okay. Hey, kumbe hata mi just vile tu, hata vile napendanga ujinga, nakula mabuyu, nakula maembe, nakula nini, like it's not perfection. Just don't feel like you have to be perfect to be 100%. No. And I think that for me, that was the reason why I had to be very candid about, I mean, am I portraying a real, honest portrayal of myself?
Yeah.
And if I'm not, then what can I do to make sure that, you know, when you come to my page, you feel like you can relate. You can relate, honestly, which is why I'm not shy about my age. I'm 34 years old. I don't feel like you have to hide your age. You know, in fact, I'm very proud of the fact that I'm 34. And, you know, I can look like this. You know, somebody can be like, what the ID? How? And I'm like, 34. You know, like it's, once you feel confident in yourself, it doesn't matter what somebody says about you, because you know who you are, right? Me nitapanda boda boda because I like boda bodas. You will find me walking along the street. You will find me in a matatu because I feel like today, do I really feel like driving? No. Do I really feel like being on a boda? It's not safe because the helmets, you know, corona. Like it's you and it took me a while. I wasn't always like this. And even now, I'm not this 100% confident person, but I'm learning, I'm figuring it out. And there's people I look up to who guide me as well. You know, social media for me, like I said, it's a tool. It can be positive, it can be negative. You kind of just have to choose and then decide for yourself what you're going to make it. I go Twitter, you know, people say Twitter can be brutal. Twitter is where I find my laughs. Like, it makes me so happy.
I think
Twitter
can
is
be.
cool.
Yeah.
I think that space. I see you guys on Twitter. Like, I don't understand it. I'm always so late to like what's happening on Twitter, because like I'm logging in the morning. By afternoon, I'm like, what's going on? What happened? Where? How? Where have I been? It's just been like 2 hours, you know. Yeah. I'll just answer
the trolls.
The trolls question. I think you get to, the more you do it, the thicker your skin gets.
Yeah.
So, and you also understand that there's many people who are just not happy,
Kamatero,
just not happy themselves and just want to give that to other people. They just want to put out that negative
Project.
energy. Yeah. So you have to know when that's happening and see it and just ignore it because we have time. Everyone has time. I cannot argue with anyone on the internet. Ever. I don't do it because there's Google and there's time. So you can be, you guys just on Google here and reply. Google, I have no time for that, So you say what you need to say. If I feel like it's too offensive and I don't need this kind of energy on my page, I block you immediately and I don't think about you again. So it's like, oh, like just insults to me, family, friends, or other people on the page, immediate block. Or even if you DM me with this bad energy, immediate block. I have no.
Like you don't take.
No. Why should I?
Kabisa.
I don't know you. And who are you? Like, why you projecting that energy? I'm trying to give you positive energy. I'm trying to project that to the rest of the world. I think that's the kind of energy we should have. So you come in with your negative energy, trying to get me there, and then I project it to my family and my friends and myself. It's not necessary. So give it no time and just block or delete and move on. And that's it for that,
Yeah.
So
Gathani, let me paint a picture for you. There's this lady, there's this Kipindi. Zamani.
Kipindi.
Program.
Masai.
Kipindi.
Kulikuwa na hii kipindi.
Kulikuwa na kipindi.
Ilikuwa inaitwa
Tujuane.
So this chick goes out there. I think it was very scripted.
It was
And then-
a dating show.
It was a dating show, yeah? Then this lady goes like, oh, I don't do what I do fencing. Remember? Exactly, yeah? Twitter burnt.
Wow.
Twitter went on fire
Yeah.
to the point that this particular lady almost got suicidal.
I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
When this lady comes to your office, she's carried the problems of Kenya. I mean, all these negative Kenyans from everywhere have poured their negativity on her. How do you now take her from that particular point to the point, as in just to maintain equilibrium before she can believe in herself again?
Wow. First of all, that's a really loaded question. Let me start from what she has talked about. Number one, like your present state of mind is what is going to help you be able to make decisions in regards to what gets into you, what gets through you, and what you can bounce off, like your emotional resilience and everything that you have gone through your life, right? So by the time, because even that person who is being trolled on Twitter, I mean, they can just delete the app and decide, I'm not going to read anything. I will not switch on the TV. I mean, you
in
can
the Twitter
still
streets,
be able to
but
do
in the
that.
Twitter streets, when you do that, you're a wuss. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying, yeah.
I'm just saying, but you're a wuss vis-a-vis what? Your state of mind, like your mental health.
Yeah.
As in, is it that important? So you still have an option to actually do
Exit
that.
that.
And even what they talked about, because the first time that somebody ever trolled me, and there's a time I was also on NTV and I used the word compartmentalize, and what? Anyway, but initially I tried to engage.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know, all these things. But then I realized that was just taking so much energy off me. And then what I also realized is that this whole engagement changed the whole conversation from what I was trying to do to now it became about that person and it became about me. All right. So by the time somebody is walking to my space because they have become suicidal because of what happened, my goal is to help them be able to come into terms with the reality, because this has happened and we cannot change them, but also help them understand how did they get to where they are. All right. You need to be able to help this person be able to figure out their level of self-esteem, their self-concept, how they view themselves, because if they have gotten to a point where it's suicidal, there's a big part of that conversation that means that what you say is what I am, right?
Okay.
So I am going, like, if you say I'm good, then it means I'm good. So if you say I'm bad, then it means I'm bad. And for that to happen, it means that you're already in a negative space. You're already in a doubtful space in regards to who you are, what you stand for, and what you're all about. So you've left it to the external environment to determine and to control your emotions and your moods and your way of life and everything that is going to be about you. And for you to get there, it means that something must have happened
Prior.
to you prior. Yeah. When we look at how a child grew up, I was kind of having a smaller conversation earlier. What kind of like attachment style, what bond was there between your parents and you? Did you feel secure enough to be yourself? Yeah. Like what was the unconscious parenting style when you grew up?
I mean,
there
I'll be
any-
honest, like for me, sorry for cutting you short. Like I've never had my dad tell me I love you. Like it's never happened.
But what you don't know
You
is that
understand?
love is an action. It's not just a word.
Okay.
Love is kind, love is patience. Those are the things that children need to see consistently to be able to feel safe and secure, to be themselves,
Okay.
and to feel okay. The other day I told my daughter to come downstairs and meet me. Usually they're happy, but then she's like, no, because I'm watching TV. And I was like, what? So I was torn between trying to help her, like, wow, that's good. It's good to think what you
You
think,
said
and
that.
it's good to say no. Like, that is what was going on in my head. And really,
Aye.
like, seriously?
Mama yako
Hata-
nilikulea.
Like, are you serious?
Nimekulea lakini unapenda TV kuniliko.
What do you mean? Unaulizago TV ni ya nani? Nani alinunua?
Because it was their time, but maybe it's also because I'm a therapist. So I had the conversation with her, and the conversation went, I'm very proud that you can be able to say out loud what you want and what you like. However, it's also good to maybe see what I wanted. Maybe I needed help. But I didn't really want to demoralize her or to doubt whether her decision or her opinion.
Yes.
I was actually like really, really proud of her. But then I also don't want her to be like a snobbish person, for the rest of her life. But if that was in a different setup, that wouldn't have ended up well. Like you said no, like what?
With what
Unaambia
right?
nani?
With what right?
Yeah.
Unalipa stima, nini unalipa kwa nini?
Yeah, so it means if this person in future, they're not going to be scared to say no, because the only reason people cannot be able to say no, it's because they want that validation from the other person. You don't want to seem like to be the bad one or the one who likes conflict or to be selfish. You already have this whole narrative in your mind in regards to how that person will interpret your no. Yeah.
Interesting. And when you bring in out the aspect of children, would you allow your kid to join social media?
They are on social media. I mean, they have YouTube Kids and we have WhatsApp, but based on their ages, that's all we have. And we are not really big on, we used to be big on theater, on movies, going out as opposed to television at home. So the telly could just be there, but they don't really watch
Not
telly
into it.
unless it's in the evening. In fact, we use my laptop more to watch things, and I love that because it's intentional, because we are deciding to watch this. We are having like a movie night. Yeah. So what I really love about the YouTube Kids is that it has the family link. It always sends you an alert, and I confidently press in the office, no downloading stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've
So there's
already
the cap.
agreed. We've already had a conversation. And what I also love about it is that, for example, the fact that they have two different phones and they are two different ages.
Yeah.
So it's geared towards their age. So the content that they're allowed to see is for a 7-year-old, and for a for an 8-year-old. So I love that about it. And they can't Google any other thing or download any other thing.
Okay.
So for now, I feel that it's important for parents, just do what you can for now. I mean, in another 5 years when they're teenagers, maybe I won't be able to control as much, but it's my responsibility to lay the foundation now.
Okay, and I like what you said, and it applies to majority of the parents. But I want, especially to answer. We've seen a lot of modern day quote-unquote celebrities who now their kids have social media accounts. Hata wengine wako na more followers than mimi ni ambaye niko na miaka mingi. And they even employ you, follow Little Uta, full, like, you know. Now, all of a sudden, the kids are now posting, went with my mommy and daddy. The kid is 2.5 years. You know, I mean, is it necessary? And we're not trying to throw shade at anyone, by the way. This is our own opinion and how we view life, to be honest.
Right.
And it can be very different to you that is watching us from home.
Right.
So that don't feel like, what Patricia is about to say, or what Lotten's about to say is about to attack any particular individual. So just the two of you, what's your opinion when it comes to this?
We start with you because you have a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have a social media page?
She has a social media page. She has an Instagram page that we have been sleeping on this year. However, the older she gets, she's aware that we are on Instagram, that is Instagram, that is TikTok. And obviously she'll see from other people, other friends, and also from us. So she knows when we're shooting because she's with us all the time.
Yeah.
And I work from the house. So she's always there when I'm shooting. And she'll either want to be in it or not. And I make it her decision. I'm like, do you want to shoot a video with me? I have to ask for her permission because it's I can't just tell her, yo, we have exactly. So she's like, no, I don't want to go outside and play. It's okay, that's fine, you know. So she has to understand that she has to want to do it first of all. If she doesn't feel like doing it, then she's not going to do it. We also don't talk about likes and comments and views.
Okay.
It's not about that. It's about I'll be like, yeah, Shazi. She'll be like, oh, you're doing a funny video. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to do a funny video because I think this is really funny. And she's like, okay. Then how comes, why are these two fighting? Like I try to explain different content because we go through content with her sometimes, you know, literally go through Instagram and be like, this is what this person is doing.
Yeah.
This is why they're doing that. On TikTok, I'd be like, this is not good content. This is not something you should be looking at. This is the kind of thing you should be looking at or emulating. So she understands that she just knows this is for posting and doing this, but she doesn't kind of know maybe people's intentions and everything. And she also, I think, is starting to understand that we make money from it. So she knows this is also work. So this is not life. She knows this is just work. I post these things, it's work, and we move on. So just protecting her in terms of her phone, like Google has this family share thing where anything she wants to download or look at, it comes straight to my Gmail. So I'm the one to approve or put a password or anything. So regulate her content, know what she's looking at, and also make her understand that she doesn't really need validation from other people and how to say no. Because the other day it happened that she was watching YouTube in like one of her friends' houses, and it was on like adult YouTube. So she came and told us, she's like, I was at this person's place and she was putting adult YouTube. She was putting your YouTube. Then I'm like, so why did you watch it? She's like, she's the one who's putting them. I'm like, so why didn't you say no? Then you explain to her, you're like, if you know something is bad, then it's okay to say no. You don't have to do what your friend wants to do because they're doing it. So they have to learn to be confident enough not to always seek that validation from their friends. So it's like obviously continually learning every day. Because she comes, she's growing, so it's like every day you have to go on your toes because she hits you with something. You're like, wait, what? You know, you look at each other like, how do I answer this question? You know, so it takes time to learn, but you just try to build her confidence, her self-love, to not look for that validation from, you know, other people.
Interesting. I like that perspective, Patricia.
I mean, I remember initially when people would open social media accounts for their kids, it was basically just to secure the name.
And also that.
Like you just,
Also get
umeza
cash.
mtoto. Yeah. So you just
before, and she also has gotten jobs from her social media.
Okay.
So we have actually, and that's like her money. So you're the one, we'd let her know, you know, that you're making money from this, you know, kind of thing. So
I like that. Okay.
Yeah, so there's that thing of securing the handle or the name. So even just like email addresses, domains, like for our website, there's people who, with every child they have, they just secure everything for the future.
Okay.
You know, just so utapata, yes, there's an account for this child,
But
not necessarily so that they can be posting or anything, but just to secure the handle or the domain or the email address, all that. Then for some people who do have a significant following, they do start the page so that their child can have their own page earn their own money. Because if you're in the business of making money from your social media accounts, then you can expand it to your offspring and have them. It's a job. I mean, and there's some people who are exploitative. There are some people who are doing it in a very ethical way.
Yeah.
So there's families who exploit their children. Like there was this YouTube family that would play pranks on their kids just to scare them, and like it's to get reactions from their children. One even was like their kids were taken away from them because people called them out. So there are people who do exploit it, but there's other people who have learned how to do it in a way that empowers their kids. The money is their children, so if it's going to their education, if it's going to their upkeep, it's social media is a tool, and a tool can be used well or it can be abused. So you have to just think about how you're using this tool, which can be very powerful. There's people who, somebody like Lily Singh, she was suffering from depression, and she started her YouTube channel just as a way for her to express herself, but also just to create fun stuff, make herself happy, make herself laugh. She's become a millionaire because of it.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to figure out, if you're going to use social media as a tool to make money, there's ways that you can do it. If you're going to use social media as a tool to just express yourself, there's a way that you can do it. If you're going to use social media as a way to expand your business, there's a way to do it. So for a child, of course, the ethics of it are very, very sensitive. And you have to be very careful how you use it, so that you're not exploiting your children to make more money from it, and you're also protecting them at the same time, so that yes, you can tell them, you can let them know honestly, we're doing this for this. I love that, for them, they don't force her, like, you have to be in this video. If she didn't want, she didn't want. If she wants, they explain to her, okay, this is what we're doing.
You can't be for this reason.
Exactly.
And you don't have to, like, sometimes she gets pissed off because she's like, I want to be in the, and I'm like, you can't be in the video because of this and this and this, and she'll storm off. But for me, I feel she has to learn how to deal with that. Like, it's not yes all the time. It's not.
Right.
At what age will you give her access to her account?
When she's old enough to know what's up, maybe 16.
Wow.
I don't know, but things are, I feel like people are evolving, things are evolving. I
It
think
can be younger?
By the age of 14, I think she can be able to have access to her phone more. But in terms of posting and just going all out and all the freedom, no. There's proper guidance all through. It's hard to speak about what age I'll do this. It's so hard to say that. Just, how does she grow up and evolve?
We don't have a manual.
I'm actually thinking, I love that this conversation in regards to your family, it's not in place of the values of that family, and you're not trying to use this as a tool to distract her. You keep yourself busy, like you're still emphasizing on the fact that I can still say no. There are rules that still apply. You can do this and this I wouldn't want you to do because I'm your parent, and for now I'm making decisions. So that's very important.
I have so one of my cousin by way of, her mother is not related to me, her father is my uncle.
Okay.
Her mother is very, she's got a very significant following. She's a media personality. And the daughter is on social media, but for her it's the exact opposite. She doesn't use her mother told her, don't use your real name on social media. So she has to, even now, if you told me to find her account, I don't know what it is, because also kids at 14, 15, they like using like little but it was a safety measure, because her daughter, she's an adolescent, she's growing, we were commenting and talking about her body now. She was posting those pictures of herself in a bikini, and she's looking at the camera like this, she's popped her butt, you can tell that she's curvy. And for her mom, obviously she was very concerned, because she knows the kind of attention that she can get because she's online, right? So one of the things she told her is, please don't use your real name. Like, make it difficult to find you, so that your page is only accessible to your family and to your friends who are the same age as you. because she's tall. She's taller than her mother.
Okay.
She's done a couple of videos with her mom on her mom's page, but those ones are very innocent. And her mom, I've noticed her mom does not tag her so that people don't find her. Yes. Because she's growing. She's looking. She's at the point where she can attract male
Yes.
attention, sexual attention. So she has to be very careful to, one, allow her daughter to be on social media, but then put some things in place that protect her,
Yeah.
so that she's not,
And online predators are
they're going for
go even like
yeah.
6 years, 7 year
No,
olds, man.
even
Yeah,
babies,
yeah,
even
it's-
babies.
so it's a very dangerous
Like toddlers.
space.
Yes,
It can be a
Yep.
very
Yep.
dangerous space, so you really have to.
you have to be very careful. So even for the people who have their children on social media, it's very clear it's the parents who are running the page.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
obviously Shazi is not there posting, "Hi guys,"
Welcome to the channel.
She does practice taking videos and selfies, like put it, like do a dance.
Mhm.
Then she'll only show us like, look, this is what I did.
Mm.
So also, being a creator, you're like, oh, that's cool. So she's learning angles.
Mm.
Right.
Because she learns, okay, you always say, Shazi, the light has to be here. We're shooting from this angle. So you're going to walk through and then we stop the video there. So she's understanding how to shoot, how to edit. Because she always sits with me when I'm editing. She's like, oh, you're editing a video? I'm like, yeah. So she's like, that's how you disappeared into the wall. I'm like, yeah. So you cut it here and then you shoot again and appear the other side. So she's also learning.
Right.
So it's like, how much do I want her to learn from this? Where do I want to?
Okay.
draw the
But in
line?
all honesty, for you, I think you're using it in terms of skills development. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
And confidence building
yeah,
as well.
5-6 years into
Yeah.
the future,
Mm.
I mean, she can confidently walk into any office and say, I can edit your video.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this is the skill I learned from the house. She can say,
Mhm.
oh, she can come to the foundation and say, I can do your digital.
Mm.
Because it's something that
Yeah.
she has learned.
Yeah. Just an extra skill.
Yeah, 100%. And remember, you that is watching us back at home, I mean, you can use the hashtag JGKM Foundation. That's the hashtag in case you want to ask a question. Or the hashtag, it's okay not to be okay.
Mm.
And we've talked about something which is something that I've felt in my heart for such a long time, which is content curation. Up until I met creatives, I always thought that people don't think through their content. I always thought that you're always at a fancy restaurant, you're always with nice clothes, you're always doing the fun things, you're always doing hot air balloons and all that kind of random stuff. You're always going for random tours with whoever is
Smiling.
sponsoring. You're always
Yeah.
smiling.
Yeah.
How? I want you to talk to our listeners
be nice.
in terms of
Nice.
just make them understand some of your content is you sit down, you have a whiteboard, and you generally say, "This is what we want to achieve."
Um,
Do you do that?
I do.
Mm.
Depends on. It's seasonal for me, but I know I want to post maybe two. I kind of go with like a 2-1, like one video of personality, one video maybe funny, or one post funny, one post personality, one post self.
Very intentional.
Very intentional. One post personality, one post outfit, next post sell. So I know I can't sell in every post. I know I have to share myself because that's what I'm to do. And I know I also want to share this side of me that's not really relevant to my fitness, but it's part of who I am
Yeah.
and appeals to another crowd. And if I can get someone else there and bring them into what I'm trying to sell, then that's for me that strategy in terms of the social media. So yes, it is intentional.
Because I felt like people had lied to us. Because you see, I'm like, hey,
But it's
Gadoni is always beautiful. I mean, she's always, like, people ask you, you're always smiling, But talk to this young guy. Because me, I'm thinking it's more or less people like myself.
I'll be honest. I still haven't gotten to a point where I have a strategy for my content. I wish I had that kind of planning and meticulous,
Detail.
but I don't. And I had to get to a point where I understood myself so well to the point where I can say, you know what, that's not my jam. I can't plan how I
Yeah.
feel next week. I'm not the kind of
Yeah.
person who pre-shoots content. You
Yeah.
know, there's people who every month or every week they have their
The
shoot
schedule.
day
Yeah.
and they schedule their shoots, and that's amazing. There's people like me who surely it just doesn't work that way. Like a lot of my stuff is very spontaneous. A lot of my ideas are very
still okay.
spontaneous, and that's still okay as well. When it comes to working with brands, one of the things that I've been trying to communicate to anybody who wants to work with me is to understand that not all people who do influencer work are the same.
Yeah.
There's some people who came onto the platform specifically to work with brands and to create content around brands, and that's perfectly fine. There's people like me who built our following just being ourselves based on the things that we do and whatnot, and that's also okay. There's people who are celebrities because they're singers like Rihanna or Beyonce, and they've built a platform based on the one thing that they do really well, and that's why brands would reach out to them to endorse them, and that's also valid. And there's people who also have a small niche following of people who trust them so much, and they create content around that. All of them are valid. All of them are completely valid. But I've gotten to the point where if a brand asks me for a content calendar and I can say, I
Watch
can't
it.
give you that. I can't give, no, not even watch it too. I'll just say that's not how I work.
Okay.
You tell me what your expectations are, and then I'll tell you, okay, this is what I can do.
Yeah.
These are your timelines. I can say, give or take. I can't tell you on the, like, not to,
creativity doesn't happen.
yeah, my creativity is not,
It's not.
It's not scheduled.
it's
you can
not
have 3
scheduled.
weeks of nothing.
Yeah.
You're literally like, and it's tough. I don't know if you
Yeah.
go through that.
Oh my goodness.
Where
yes.
you're literally even you're panicking because after week 3 you're still like, I really have nothing to tell people and nothing to post.
Which is why, first of all, for
Yeah.
me, I have to work with brands that I genuinely use.
Wow.
Because then that way there's no stress about,
Yeah.
like if I already use you, if you're a brand that I can spend money on, that I already spend money on, then it's seamless. Then it's completely fine because I won't struggle.
So you just merge it with your day-to-day use.
Exactly. I prefer to work with brands that I already use, that I can endorse, I can talk about in my sleep.
Yeah.
So that way it's not a struggle to start, how do I say that, how do I, no, it has to be natural, it has to be organic,
And you can
because then that way, even after the campaign period is over, I'm still using you. Even before it started, I was still using you. You know what I mean? So that way it's not a struggle. 2, I prefer to work with brands that I can defend through my teeth. You know what I mean? So that, because not everybody will have a positive experience with a brand, and it's important for them to understand that. Imagine if somebody says that they used your product and they didn't like it. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe it wasn't for them. And it's important also for brands to understand that. And 3, I learned 2 years ago, I worked with a brand that really stressed me out so much that my mental wellness was affected. I would be in my bed at 1 a.m, just like, just stressing. And me, I'm the kind of person who, if I'm working on one thing now, I have to do it before I move on to the next. So hii kitu ikinikula kichwa, everything else will suffer. You know what I mean? And I remember there was this brand that, honestly, it made me useless. For 3 months, I wasn't able to do anything because I was just stressing about them. Yeah. So by the time I now did this one thing, I sent it to them. I was like, listen, this thing has been shot, it's been edited, it's been uploaded. It's waiting for you to say, ni sawa, for me to publish. If you have anything that you feel about it, tell me. We'll work on it for the next piece of content. But this one is already done. Oh, but over here you did it. Yeah. That's fine. It's natural.
Yeah.
It's normal. Like, nothing is changing. But can you no. Like, learning to stand up for myself. So I've gotten to a point where, and to be honest, that piece of content did so well. It's the best performing piece of content I've ever put out. It has more than 500,000 views, which I didn't even notice until last week. Someone was like,
on
wow.
Instagram?
No, on YouTube.
YouTube, wow.
Yeah.
But find YouTube another brutal space.
But I mean, for me, let me tell you, I love shooting content. I love editing. Like, it's something I do for fun. Yesterday, it was it 1 or 2 in the morning? And I was watching a YouTube tutorial about how to edit, and I was like, "Guy, you mean it's 1 a.m? This is what I'm doing?" It's because I love it. I
It's you.
enjoy it so much, and so I've learned to let people know that it's really honestly a privilege for you to ask me to create content about you, because this is something I love and it's something that I need to protect. Me napenda. So I'm not doing it for money. Even if there was no money, I will do it.
And at the same quality.
I'm striving. The reason I spend so much time between posting is because I'll fixate on, no, but it has to look like this. I want it to look like this. How do I get it to look like
wow.
this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have to learn how to make it look like this. And if I can't crack it, that video will not go up until I am satisfied that this is the quality. So it doesn't matter if a brand has paid for it or not. The quality that I want you to come and experience on my pages is because I value you and I want you to be entertained. I want you to feel like, wow. And I love it when people come to my channel and they say, I can't believe I watched 49 minutes without moving, because that means then that I gave them something of value. Because of course I'd love to also be one of those people who can just do a 15 sininged. I'd have divided the video into 3, then
So
I have 3
three.
videos. Yeah, but for me it's like, no, but it needs to sit in one video, right? And it's for me the first, and I learned this from, if you've watched the last 2 videos that I put up, it was a conversation with somebody and we're talking about content, we're talking about being in the limelight, and I realized that, hey, enyewe, the reason I do this first and foremost is because it brings me joy, right? And then I want to extend that joy to the people who come to my channel. So you have to learn to protect that thing for yourself, right?
Okay.
So even now when trolls come and say, "Ay, but hapa sijui nini," it's like,
Ungeweka light hapa. Unajua kuna trolls alafu kuna sasa wale wa
I mean, there's constructive criticism, definitely, which you have to also learn to
accept,
to differentiate between who's constructive or who's just coming to project their negativity. Yeah.
What I like about this discussion is that he's talked about how he curates and how he schedules. You've spoken about your experience in terms of yours is on the go. If I assuming I'm trying to make this set, or I want to use this set as a prop, whatever, you will think it through, and then you're like, okay, it's spontaneous, but it's well thought. Now I want to talk about you. Where were you?
I'm actually in between the two, but I began this space by thinking, oh, these guys, this is so cool. All they do is,
you see,
they just go and tweet.
Guys,
as in it's, exactly.
From a common Kenyan perspective,
their dress,
you guys are living la vida loca,
like, and given that's, in regards to their space. So I remember even the first conversation I had with our chairman in 2018. I just told them, I want to start tweeting about mental health. And thank God I'm in a space where they understood in regards to the vision, like what this would do for the hospital and also for the ministry as well. So they were like, yeah, okay, go ahead. But I had that conversation because I thought, I can see my patients, and then as I wait for the next one, I'm just like, it's okay not to be okay. And then
moving.
And then continue, with, and I didn't know how hard that digital space was actually going to be. I had no idea. I didn't have anybody to prepare me, and I think my break came through when we did a partnership with Capital FM when they were starting Bonga. At least I did meet people who helped me understand. So I'm in between the two where I create, like we do a whole year calendar in regards to what we want to do. And today I'm in a better space because ours is for awareness. So like your message is intentional. And then now I've grown further and I'm like, we need to have monthly themes. So we'll have like family theme, and then we'll have 4 sub themes. We'll look at codependency, addiction, and attachment within the family unit. So, but my biggest challenge is the creative part of me because I'm very spontaneous and I don't know how the world is gonna be tomorrow. I just woke up. I was reading something in the middle of the night, and then I realized that Kenya was #1 in cyberbullying out of a research done in 100
Wow.
171 countries.
I can see that.
You know, and I told the person who helped me, who is a digital
Like it's Twitter.
strategist,
Hey, good,
I'm like, oh my God, we need to change our Mindful Mondays, because I saw it on, I think on Sunday night or Saturday night. I said, this is what we need to talk about, because I even remember Nani was trolled on Twitter. I remember Nani was trolled on Twitter. You know, there was a comedian who was trolled,
Hey.
and there was also another young girl who was trolled. So I'm like, this is a conversation that we need to have.
Crisis.
And also another girl called Bossy Bori or something. So I was like, this is a conversation. We need to have this conversation. I can't believe Kenyans, we are number one. Like, hapa ndio tumefika.
Guys.
So I changed it overnight. I told him, make a poster.
Yeah.
We are going to put this poster. I came up with questions and sent him, because our questions have to be in a certain form to go. And we had that conversation. So the management does not understand that impulsive or creative. Like, you can't tell me what are we going to do in September. I don't know how I'll be feeling.
Or what's
Like,
gonna
we
happen.
did the first family and mental health walk, but I literally just, an idea just came to my head, and I was like, oh my God, we need to bring families together. This conversation needs to start within the family setup. We are going to do a family and mental health walk.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure it's in a safe space. We'll do it in Karura. And I just went and told them, we are going to do a family and mental health. They're like, but this is not in the calendar. We have to, you know, put I'm like, I don't know what I'll be feeling. I don't know how what will inspire me.
And inspire other people. I
The
think
next
people
day,
feel that
you know,
energy.
and I was really happy, because even you guys supported. At least when we came to you guys, you're like, we'll do this for you. And when we went to our water people, they're like, okay, yeah, we've supplied you with water. We'll make sure there's water that day. You know, and things actually really did come together. But for somebody out there, I don't think they really understand that point. And if I love that we're having this conversation, because right now we have kind of been forced to be in a digital space, and a lot of people are beginning to create content or to go online to do stuff, you know, just to have this in mind, that it is an investment, both physically and emotionally. You'll have to think through it. You'll have to be sure of yourself in regards to what you want to do. Be more intentional, not because people are doing this. Fine, even me, let me do this.
I mean,
and also remember that there are rewards, and sometimes they are none. You know, but it's all right.
I agree with you. And
all of them are valid.
Very
Spontaneity,
valid. It's okay. You're
planning, schedule, all of them, like, they're all valid.
Absolutely.
But you have to do what feels right for you.
What makes you happy? I think essentially that's what we are going. So if you're listening to us, what makes you happy is what your social media should be all about. I mean, if you're well into fitness, beauty, therapy, mental health, I mean, if that's what makes you complete as an individual, don't be focused, because I feel there's this whole box that people want to fit you in. Like, when I look at you, unakamsewa gym. Unajua, I mean, ukinua unaweza kaa kama chief. Unajua kuna hiyo si anataka kukuweka kwa a situation, unajua. So I think if we can move from that.
I remember being at a concert. Once. My friend was performing. It was a group of people performing, and my friend was one of the performers. And as soon as he went on stage, I was there cheering him. You know, woo! Someone came and touched me. You know, you can't be so loud. You know, you're Patricia Kihoro. You have to be calm. I was like, excuse me. What? This is my friend. I'm going to support them. I'm going to shout. I'm going to scream, because, like, what do you mean? Somebody has come with an idea of who you should be, to tell you, you are Patricia Kihoro, like I do, as though I don't know who I am. But then they've assigned a role to me.
Right.
Where now they're saying, because we know you have to fit into this. And it's like, imagine I'm still a human being.
First.
Imagine just being known by certain people doesn't mean that now there has to be like, you have to police, you have to be respectable in this way, or you have to say things like this. Imagine, be a human being, be you.
You're not saying be disrespectful, just be you.
Be you.
Actually, let me give you an example. So there's this time I was doing this concert, so I was part of the promoters. So we were at Eka on Mombasa, fabulous hotel, and opposite is Next Gen. So we were with this particular artist. So we asked the artist, yo, ukona, I think we were trying to get her all these permits that happen behind the background before you sing on stage. So we're trying to work on that. So we asked her, "Ukona picture?" Akasema zi. Tukamwambia, you know what? You can actually go across the road because it's like a small road. You can go across. It's like a road literally from me to him. Yeah, and it's that small. So you can go across the road and get your picture. She told us, "No, you need to get me an Uber." I was like,
Okay.
"Why?" She's like, "Because people can't see me walking."
Wow.
You get it? I mean, I was looking at her like,
wow.
"Yo, Kwani, you don't walk in your house." I'm like, what? Is the issue now people? Am it yourself?
Yeah.
Do you know? Because there's this whole feeling that people have, like, you know, Kevin Hart doesn't walk. You know, Trevor Noah doesn't walk. So me, why should I walk? Do you get it?
Yeah.
And I think, especially in that quote unquote celebrity circle, because me, I think the word celebrities are fat. I mean, it's something that exists that can be taken from you, but you don't own it. You understand? I mean, people can take it away from you and you just become a common Kenyan, but you feel like you're entitled to it. But when it comes to social media, I mean, that was just a side note. I want us to talk about addiction. Is it possible to be addicted to social media? I have a time on my Instagram, 1.5 hours a day. I have snoozed that timer. I removed it. Because you see, at one point or the other, I sat down and I was like, I spend almost 4 hours a day on social media. When I wake up in the morning,
It's the first thing.
I know.
Yeah.
you know,
True.
it's a way to fall yourself to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the first thing you look at when you wake up in the morning. I mean, talk to us about it. Social media addiction.
Let's start there, then I can give a more
Okay.
professional opinion.
Oh, for the professional.
I'd say yes, you can get carried away or addicted to it and waste time. For me, I look at it more in terms of how much time am I spending on this? And even yes, I struggle sometimes, and you have to realize that am I living in the current moment with who I'm with, where I am, or am I fixated on being somewhere else or doing something else with other people? And now I think having a family has like put that in my mind even more.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot more conscious when my daughter comes, or have I set time out just for her? You know, have I set time out just for my wife? Have I set time out for myself? Am I always on social media within that time? So for me, it's the small things like I've now set, limits on my social media.
Oh, okay.
So it's like maybe 3 hours, or on all my apps, actually, it's my whole phone. So by 9:30, I can't be online.
9:30 p.m.?
Yeah, 9:30 p.m. However, I know from 7 to 8, it's my daughter's dinner time, and also just time to spend with her, because by 7:45, she's asleep. So do I want her to sleep while I'm on social, or do I want to spend some more time with them? And, you become a lot more aware, like, if you've been on the phone the whole day, yes, you're working. It's a bit different for us because we're constantly either researching. I'm literally with a notebook writing ideas. Like I see a TikTok, I'm like, save that. I need to save the sound. I need to write down the idea, and I need to see how I can link it to a brand. So I'm constantly working. So it's like, okay, I also need to stop this work because I need to be with those other people. So as soon as 6, 7 dinner time reaches, we've agreed in our house, it's like, put your phone away. So you have to put your phone away. And that's how it is. The phone has to be away. Morning, I can't access my apps, only maybe WhatsApp. Because if I'm going to train a client and they cancel and I don't see it, I don't want to get there. Then there's no one at 5 a.m. in the morning. And I'm just like, oh my days. So yeah, I check that, but I'm consciously not checking. I'm like, I'm not going to look at my Insta until 8 a.m. 8 a.m. that's when I'll start, or I'm not going to do this until a certain time. Or I'll say from 6 to 6:15, I'll give a story. After that, off until this time.
Yeah.
So I consciously have to be aware of where I am, or if I go see friends, have I seen them in a long time? Have we been talking? So if I catch myself like touching my phone, I'm like, I just put it down. I throw it because I'm like, I'm not trying to
be a slave to this thing. I don't need to be on it. I've posted my picture. I don't need to check the likes or anything.
Right.
So I'm going to do it once I'm away from this environment.
And based on what you just said, just before you get to you, Patricia, modern day society, we meet at a restaurant. The first thing we all sit down is, I'm not trying to check if I have an email.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to check if I have a message on WhatsApp, because even WhatsApp is not what we're generally focusing on. It's umecheki, by the way.
It's instinctive.
And then all of a sudden, when there's no conversation, it happened to me on dates. Conversation imeshika.
Yeah.
Halafuko.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Sorry, as in I was just checking.
Yeah.
So as in, is that addiction?
I will be honest, and I was telling them earlier that I do feel like I spend too much time online. I do have moments where I'm like, you could be editing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you could be doing something
you could
else.
really be editing. It is true, Patricia. It
could
is
be
very
reading.
true, Patricia. Wow, yes, yeah. You could be
Let's
editing,
open
but
the
you're
next
not. And I am the kind of person who I've even realized now, like, okay, Instagram, what next? Twitter, and then Pinterest, and then YouTube. What else can I? Facebook, it's a dopamine fix.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a fixation. It's something that we don't realize, but going on social media and seeing this new post or seeing this new this or seeing if people have liked you, it's a dopamine fix, and it's a fixation on it that we don't realize. It becomes a thing, which is why you can even, I swear, simu imekufa, there's no power, nini, but you'll still grab your phone to check. You've even forgotten that you switched it off. Sometimes you've switched off your phone, but you feel it vibrating. How? Because our mind is very powerful, and we don't realize how things like these become habits, and then the habits become fixations, and then they become addictions. And then eventually it's like, oh, I can't. And for me, I do know, and these limits that people are able to put on themselves, if I'm setting the limit, I can break it.
But it will make you feel so
You know what I
When you can't.
No human is limited.
No, now when you know you're breaking,
I feel no guilt.
You're only guilty
I've
for the first
tried.
30 seconds.
Trust me, I've tried, and I'm just like, but Sini, I'm a grown up. I'm
I'm
the
a-
one who's
yeah.
setting the rules.
Niko kwa jam.
Yeah.
Sasa ndadu.
So
yeah.
So even now, I've convinced myself, because there was a time I was like, surely, Patricia, I can't wake up and the first thing I do is go to Twitter or Instagram. But now I've told myself those are the things that are waking you up. And I'm like, sawa, it's fine. I have an alarm that I have to do a puzzle, like 5 of them, to wake up. Sawa. And then after that, I go to Twitter and I'm like, if I do Twitter and Instagram for 10 minutes, now I'll be awake properly. I won't snooze. So I've told myself that it's beneficial to me. You know what?
It's part of the alarm.
If that's what's working for me, that's what's working. But I've gotten to a point where you also have to acknowledge. I know I'm not perfect. There's things I'm still struggling with. There's times I tell myself, fine, if I have to be on my phone, let me call it research.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let me justify.
Yeah, let me make sure then that I'll get something from it.
Yeah,
So, and then
exactly,
I
yeah.
try and multitask. So it's like, fine, if I have to grab my phone as I'm watching this show, since I work with Showmax, creating content for Showmax I'll tell myself, at least I'm working. Okay, fine. So create content for Showmax.
Am I creating or am I
Yes.
Consuming.
So I have to, I've learned that if something is not working for me, don't stress.
Yeah.
Don't really struggle and make it so that you have to be like so and so. I have a friend who she has a curfew. 9 o'clock, after 9 o'clock, or is it 8 o'clock? She doesn't go online. And she's so strict about it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but the phone is yours. Like, is there somebody waiting to beat you? No. But she's able to be disciplined in that way. For me, if I wake up at 3 in the morning to go to the loo, trust me, I'll come back to my phone and I'll see. Okay.
Or you will go with your phone.
Exactly. But I've learned not to beat myself up about it. I'm learning to also allow myself the grace to make mistakes, to say, you know what, Patricia, honestly, you could have achieved this.
Yeah.
Me, that thing of it, you'll feel guilty if you I don't feel guilty for, no, it's me who's setting the rules here. So I'm learning to shift.
Okay.
my perspective. So it's like, if I have to be online, then let me make sure that I'm getting something from it. Oh, so I'm on Pinterest. What can I get from Pinterest in terms of content creation as an idea for this? And so, yes, I could do with being online less, but the things that I get from being online are very beneficial.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm feeling sad, Twitter is the place where I go to laugh. Like, I've laughed so
Yeah.
much from Twitter. There's people who they feel like Twitter is such a scary place because you do you know, Twitter, one day you could be loved, the next day you're hated. It's
For sure.
honestly, social media is also that kind of place. So you have to every day I wake up and go online, it's like, hey, will I find myself trending? You know, did I say something
They-
bad?
is that
Did somebody
video from
go,
years
you know,
ago?
Receipts.
no, or was there a hide my identity who, you know, wants to hide my identity?
Watch
living,
it, but
you know, there's so much my identity,
Watch
living,
it,
you
but
know, there's so much to fear
But
nowadays.
that's a real perceived threat.
Yeah.
Oh,
My
squeeze on the
identity.
danga kwa hide my identity.
Yeah.
But I can't, but you know, you also can't live in fear
no, you can't.
of, you know, and if, what's the worst that could happen also? So I think for me, the thing that has made it so that I've still been okay all these years later is the fact that I had people before all this, the same people are in my life. My family is there. I have friends from before all this, and I've made new friends,
Yeah.
and we have real conversations. I have come to accept who I am, you know, and there's things I'm still accepting. I'm not 100% confident, but that's something I'm working on every day.
Yeah.
And I'm acknowledging that I'm not perfect. I can't,
100%.
you know, like there's so much to learn. I'm
Yeah.
always learning new things every day. I'm not a know-it-all. Although sometimes I can be, mimi ni kichwa ngumu, but you
Yeah.
see, I just accept that is who I am. And, you know, I think it's a thing of acceptance, like self-acceptance,
Yeah.
right, is really important.
100%.
You know, Shiv, I don't know if you've ever seen Shiv's, like, TBTs.
No.
Nyuko.
There's some
I would
people who
love-
are so scared of a TBT coming out, but he's the one who posted his own TBT.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing with me as well. There's a time I was really big, I was chubby, but there's people who are so scared, like, please don't post pictures of how I looked like before. And I'm like, but it's
And
it's
still
your
you.
journey.
Yeah.
Just self
appreciate.
accept yourself. I think once you're okay with who you are,
Yeah.
then there's a fear that sort of is removed from
Moves or shifts away from
your
it.
existence online.
But
yeah.
for you, Gadoni, I mean, would you say there's an addiction? And then if you meet a client like Rotan, probably Patricia in this case, who's saying, I can't. I've tried, I'm breaking my own limits, I set them and I break them at will. How would you help?
So when we look into, okay, first of all, let me start by saying 100% that yes, you can get into
Phone addiction.
social media stroke phone addiction. It's there, it's been researched, it's been documented.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
for sure. Actually, the latest documentation was done in 2018 or 2019. You know, I'm not sure. Where they say that the healthy amount of time that you should spend on social media is 30 minutes. And I also can do 30 minutes. Yeah, collectively.
A day.
Of
30 minutes. 30
Right.
minutes. 30 minutes. Yes. I mean, my last YouTube video was 59 minutes. Wow.
Right. But I think when a clinical research is being done with a controlled group, that is totally different. And when that was being done, we were not in the space that we are
In.
today. Like truthfully for myself, I would say that I spent an unhealthy amount of time.
As a doctor?
But I'm in Patricia's class. I rationalize it. This is for work, and I'm running 2 platforms. There's Gathoni Mbogwa,
And
you
then
know,
there's-
and then there's Chiromo Mental Health Hospital now. Now we even have a hospital, so there's still a lot that needs to be done. But what I'm going to say, like from a professional perspective, is to do like a self-awareness check, because the reason why we are saying this is an addiction and why this is similar to drug addiction
Yeah.
is that research actually shows that the kind of reward or the level of dopamine that is released from validation on social media is equal to injecting cocaine in your bloodstream. So they compare it to that. Like you feel
Like
as
a kick.
euphoric as that.
Yeah.
Basically, that is telling us that this social addiction still has detrimental or physical, serious
Impact.
physical implications or effects in our mind. So when you're doing the self-check, you're also evaluating the level of discipline, you know.
Yeah.
Like he said, sometimes even when I don't have a phone, I do like this, then I remind myself, I said I'll put the phone off. But how this is, let's look at the similarity. So why it's an addiction is that number one, there's behavior modification.
Yeah.
In regards to your whole life has changed now, it's just about this. Whether you're with your friends, whether you're with your family, there's no really time for yourself. There's people, even when they are going to shower, you know, they still want to be watching something.
That was me for a very
You
long
know,
time.
there.
No way.
Yeah, exactly. So there's complete behavior modification. And even for me, when my kids got their phones, I had to revisit that conversation with myself, because I put the rule that you can't wake up and the first thing you do is the phone. Then it means I also have to do that,
Yeah.
you know, because I don't want them to learn that. And when I get to the house, I'll have to keep the phone away so that we can have like good conversation in regards to how their day was. So I'm also trying to teach them that. So one, we say it's an addiction because there is behavior modification.
Okay.
Two, we say it's an addiction because your mind is preoccupied. You know, the way you just can't wait for that drink, you're like fantasizing about it and thinking about it, and you know, nameza mate. Basically, your mind is preoccupied. So even for social addiction, there's that preoccupation.
So how do I
Like you
get
can't wait. You can't wait for this meeting to be over so that you go. You can't wait for this conversation to be, as in you're just wasting my time. I need to go. So if you find yourself in that space, that's an indicator that probably you could have
an addiction?
an addiction. If you find yourself that, because one of the other signs of addiction is as well as poor interpersonal relationship and conflicts all the time. So if people are complaining, if you'd rather choose this over any social connection, if you'd rather this than sleep, if you'd rather this than go to work, then we are saying that there's a problem there. As well as it's an addiction because just like a chemical addiction, you're getting withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
I can comfortably leave my phone. Like if I take a cab from my house and I want to tell the guy, I'm not sure if I have my phone, then I'll look for it. But in my mind, if I forget my phone, I would still go to work.
Hey.
Yeah, there are phones at work. If it's WhatsApp, there's WhatsApp web. I would have to call my house girl and tell her, no, call using
This
you know,
particular number.
the hospital phone.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't turn around or feel like death.
I
So
would.
it's different for me. So I wanted to ask you guys,
I would.
if you left the body and you discovered that you left your phone, like would you feel like a part of you is,
Yeah, I have to go back on my phone. Or it has to be sent.
I've mailed my phone.
or it
to
has to be
Mombasa.
sent?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've sent.
It's
nimetuma
easy
na
to
phone
buy a
to
SIM
Mombasa.
card.
Yeah.
Well, if
And
it
buy a
depends.
temporary phone.
If
Yeah,
I'm
but-
going somewhere where I'm going to be like away from home the whole day, then
Yeah.
yeah. But if I'm like going to the supermarket or
Yeah.
I'm going to the gym or
Exactly.
then it's
Ah,
okay.
right,
like it's not
right.
necessary. I'll be like, I forgot
Wait,
my
but
phone.
let me
on
ask you
I
a question.
love that because there are limits. You know,
Yeah.
it's that's why we are obviously saying that this is not a problem for you,
Bro, I think I'm in it.
because it's not gotten to that point where you're completely dysfunctional because you don't have this gadget or you don't have access.
To the gadget.
And we're only
to the
talking about
gadgets.
social media because
Yeah.
if you
We're just
if you
talking
if,
about
if,
social
if your
media.
gadget is important for
Business.
instance business and
Emergency
things like
calls.
those, then that makes sense to go
Yeah.
back for it. But if it's because of social media, then that is where
Yeah.
you know,
I'd
like
say that. Yeah.
right.
Let me ask you a question
Mhm.
before you tell us how to recover, because I honestly I'm those guys for the phone. Yeah. If you're in a situation where have you ever been in a situation where you deleted the app and you say, I'm not going to be on Instagram for the next 3 days. App gone. As in, I know the password. It's my password. Yeah. I deleted the app, and then personally I've tried it. 2 days later, I'm ameniambia, ulicheck your video, Nico. Acha tu niangalie video. You know, I mean, have you guys ever tried that? To delete the app, and how long have you sustained?
I've been able to go off social media without having to delete the app. like just
Yeah.
saying, okay, this weekend from, like I just woke up and I was like, anyway, I think I need just to be off, and I make the decision to not be on WhatsApp, not be on Instagram, Twitter, and did it for maybe 4 or 5 days.
Nice.
And it's like, even when there's that, oh, let me check. No, actually, Patricia, you said no this, and I'm okay. And I've done it and I felt great. And I would love to do it more often. A lot of times I'm online also because of work commitments.
Fact.
You know, like not just working with brands, but also, you know, running pages like Speakerbox, hosting Speakerbox every Wednesday, or, you know, work things that are passion projects.
Yeah.
Also, I use my phone for pretty much everything.
Okay.
Everything, you know, editing, creating. So my phone is really an important tool to me. But I've been able to go days off it.
Chip, can you do that?
I don't feel like I need to delete anything. I don't feel like I've reached there. Taking breaks. When I take breaks from creating, but I'll still consume in the hopes that I'll get my creative spark back. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I need to just spend less time on, and I will, and get back to it. But no, not deleting. I don't feel like it's been
Identical.
like I need to.
Interesting.
No.
So, Gavani, how help me? I'm here.
Obviously, the cases that get to a point of coming to hospital, we are talking of in regards to severity, you're on a different level because you are having now physical withdrawal symptoms, you're sweating, heart palpitations, you can't sit still, you're irritable. It's really like you're withdrawing from a drug, for sure. And in that case, that happens a lot. Actually, the only way that I was able to understand that is because during admission, then sometimes the phone can be taken away, like for your own safety. And until that point, when you sit on a clinical space, is when you'll realize, okay, so this thing can actually be really addictive. It's not just theoretical. Yeah. So that's another whole treatment plan altogether. You know, it's also trying to get this client to get the chemicals in their brain at equilibrium so that they can go back to their normal self. And then from there is when we do therapy. Yeah. Kindly just allow me to mention something, to comment on something Patricia said in regards to body image. I think body image is a really, really huge issue both for men and women. And we don't even realize it. You know, that constant comparison. You're online and you're constantly comparing yourself, and you're also selling yourself a narrative that, oh, she looks like that. I guess that is the perfect way to look, without realizing that even that person who looks like that is not that they're not dealing with their own stuff. They still have, you know, stuff that they're dealing with. They still have, they're on their own journey, you know.
Yeah.
In their own path. And for people who are younger, all they do is just go online and then you see, oh, this is how Patricia looks, or this is how she wore. And what you want is to emulate that or compare yourself to that. And there's something that is so important that she said that, Patricia, you said you made a conscious decision to share not only the good, but also the authenticity, your truth of your journey. And for the longest time, I felt like that is something that was lacking.
Yeah.
Because, well, as human beings, we always present our best front. I mean, yeah, for sure. But if people who have a space that can influence, that can impact, don't use that space to actually show people who are younger that it's not all rosy. You know, you can still go through ABCD, then that clear picture is not painted, you know, and that's why somebody would be like, okay, so this person also goes through this. I guess it's normal. So it's also normal for me to go through this, you know, and I really appreciate when I see such content out there, because there's a lot of people it goes to even like hold a hand and impact it in very, very different ways in regards to comparison. Yeah. So thank you for that. Yes.
On that, I'd say I struggle to show the not so happy part of my life. Well, I'm happy. I wouldn't lie, I'm happy, but I am very careful about what I put. I don't like putting stuff that's personal in between my family, my wife, my kid, my mom, my dad, or even my best friend and everything. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't feel like what am I achieving by telling you guys about this? You know, yes, there's people who will relate, but how is it helping me? I don't feel like I need to talk about it with you. I feel like I need to talk about it to whoever it concerns. It's you and me. We need to talk about this.
Right,
They don't
right.
need to know all of this. And
It works for you.
yeah. However, yes, I'd say in terms of now fitness, yes, I'd show vulnerability. Like, guys, I don't have a 6-pack 24/7. Sometimes I add weight, sometimes it's I have to work again to get back to it. I'm also not perfect in that space. So I guess it's just in terms of relating to what your audience wants to see. Yeah, I guess so.
Actually, you're completely right, because we always say, like I always say, just talk about what you are comfortable
Yeah.
to put out there. Because while you're trying to help another person, you've given another person a weapon.
Yeah, also you helping yourself.
You know,
how does the other person feel about
so
you
just
sharing that?
do what you feel that is comfortable in your own space, in regards to also, because you also have a responsibility to protect the people around you as well.
100%, yeah.
You know,
Especially family,
absolutely,
Relationships.
absolutely,
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah.
I had to be very just because I'm saying that I share the highs and the lows, not all of them also, you know, it doesn't mean you're sharing everything. And, you know, one of the things I've had to be very clear about is that it's one thing to be secretive, it's one thing to be private. You know, so just because I'm not talking about who I'm dating or who I'm seeing doesn't mean it's a secret. It just means there's certain things I've also chosen to keep private and to myself, you know, because social media is yours. It's yours. There are no rules. It's yours.
Like, I don't
It's your
owe you.
page. You do what, Yani, your page is there for
That's
you.
what I think about it.
So you put what you're so like for him, he's comfortable being vulnerable about his fitness,
right.
and that's
That's him.
as far as he needs to. You know, he
Yeah.
doesn't need to talk about him and his wife. We're dealing with this or that's
Cool.
You know, even when I'm sharing, like sometimes when I share that I'm not in the best space, I don't have to say why.
Yeah.
It's also just for me to be like, hey, I woke up feeling really low today, and I've talked about your hormones and how they can play a part, you know, if you're dealing with PMS and all these things. And it doesn't have to be that now you're sharing everything. Some people are completely comfortable sharing every single minute of their day. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as they're okay with it, then that's perfectly okay. So I think people also just need to realize that social media is a tool for everyone to use as they see fit. There's nothing wrong
Just
or right.
don't spread hate.
Don't spread hate.
And don't join Twitter.
If there's somebody that you follow and you don't like what they're doing, instead of telling them, why are you doing this, you should you can unfollow. You can even block so that they never show up on your name. Like, curate who you follow, curate what you consume, curate what you put out.
Are we still live, Benta?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm monitoring.
Yeah, so you can honestly curate what you want. It's your page. It's like somebody coming to your house to tell you, "Hii couch yako, why is it white?" Unajua, hebu weka couch ya. Yeah, and it's like you can't come to someone's house and tell them how to do their decor.
True.
There's people who shared decor videos and people in the comments saying, but this is not how you do this. And it's like, are you living in this house with that
It's
person?
entitlement. People
it
are
is
so
This
entitled.
person, this is that person's house.
Yeah.
There are no rules. Like, yes, minimalism is great. Some people just like maximum, like
Stuff.
nyumba kama ni ya mtu,
Kama
wacha
ni
afanye,
bedsitter,
yes,
sawa.
wacha afanye kile anataka. So, you know, if you don't like what somebody is doing, you can very easily unfollow, block. You don't have to follow them. Like, you don't have to consume things that make you feel
if
bad.
it triggers you.
If it triggers you, unfollow. There's people who, over the years, like there's a girl who I used to follow in the UK. She's so beautiful. She has such a wonderful body.
But it triggers you.
You guys, she gave birth like a week later, she posted a picture and you're seeing her abs are back. And I'm like, Kai. So see,
Yeah.
it's not because I didn't like her, but I unfollowed because I felt like I was comparing myself to her.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It
you know
happens,
what?
yeah.
I need to unfollow until I get to a point where I love how I look.
And you just look at her and you're like, yeah.
So that now I can go back and follow her in when I feel like I can appreciate
Safe.
how
Yeah.
she looks without me
Yeah.
feeling like I need to look like that. You know, so it's it's
Yeah,
honestly you curate. If something makes you feel bad, unfollow.
Follow.
Honestly. And there's somebody who came also, like, please, somebody came to my DMs. I had just posted a video of a collaboration I had watched and I really loved.
Yeah.
Somebody came to my DMs to be like, "Ay, but me, I didn't like. They were so loud and da, da, da." And I was like, imagine, you don't have to watch. Like, and then they're
Why
like,
did you watch it?
yeah, like, why did you watch? Like, are you watching so that you complain? Like, and then also, please don't feel like you can come to my DMs to hate on someone, because no, I will not stand for it. So I told her, imagine you didn't have to watch it. You can easily just unfollow na uendelee na maisha. And she's like, guy, okay. Then now she came back to tell me, but see, you should have told me to just vumilia, like, because they need the follows and the likes. I was like, whoa, imagine they don't need your views. And that's where you get it wrong.
Yeah.
They don't need,
Entitlement.
you know, that they're not going to try and please you. They're doing stuff that they like. If you don't resonate with it, if their
Bounce.
voices are irritating to you, imagine it's okay. You can find someone. And si kwa ubaya. I know there's people who will find me maybe too loud, or maybe like, how come you're just like, Mara, you're proka, Mara, you're this, you can't. And that's okay.
And we're still friends in real life.
And it's completely fine. Even me, like, I have a friend who I know she doesn't watch all my videos. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
it's fine.
You know, like, it's okay. Me, Shiv, I think Shiv is so dope. Like, in saa zingine naangalianga videos zake za well, before I'd watch his workout videos, I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like I should
Kuna
be
ingine
working
alifanya kwa
out.
kiti ya mejino hivi
Hey,
niliangalia.
and I'm like, I'm just wasting my Yani, Shiv is telling me that for 10 minutes a day, I can just be, you know, a fitter, better person. In pressure. Hata sitaki kuiona. You know, and it's okay. It didn't mean like, no, I don't like Shiv.
Yeah.
Now that I'm working out, I'm just like, okay.
Let's go, shit.
I can go look for workouts on his page
Yeah.
because I resonate with that, you know, and it's completely okay. Just you can pick and choose what you consume.
Yeah.
Pick what makes you feel good, what makes you laugh, what makes you happy, what inspires you, motivates you. Anything that triggers you, that makes you feel jealous, that makes you compare yourself, you don't need, and you can easily unfollow so that you don't stew in that negativity. Yeah.
I think
I agree.
because we're concluding, I think Patricia has rounded it out for us, because I mean, unless somebody else has any parting shot when it comes to this particular discourse, I feel like we can't really exhaust it, because this is something that, like Adoni said, we've done research today. In another 6 months, another new finding will come out, and we're like, oh, so this is actually what we're supposed to do and everything. So maybe, if you have anything to say as we now say kwaheri.
I'd say this for the parents out there. I'd like them to obviously monitor and raise their kids with love and respect, and just teach your kids the proper moral values and proper interpersonal skills. Talk to them, let them be. Don't suppress their feelings and their emotions and their ideas and their creativity. Let them show that, but obviously you're monitoring it. You're the adult. You understand how far they can go and not go. In terms of social media, just be aware of yourself. Just try experiments. You know, see, can I be off my phone for the first 2 hours when I wake up, and can I now instead meditate for 10 minutes, or can I work out for 20 minutes, or can I make breakfast or food for the rest of the day, and then start my social media? If I don't need to be there, then I don't need to be there. Same with work. Do I need to be emailing at 10 p.m. in bed before I sleep? Will someone die if I don't send this email on a poster? You know, will someone die if, you know, no, because where are they printing it at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.? You know, yes, they're 24-hour economies, but is it like
life or death?
You know, life or death. And think about it. Do I need to go to sleep thinking about emails? Or do I want to just not have my phone for 2 hours, be my family, be the book, and have these other positive ideas stewing inside my head as I rest and re-energized for the next day.
Interesting. Trisha, anything else?
For me, since this conversation was about the influence of social media on our mental health, social media is a tool and it can be abused or it can be used to your advantage. Just like cars, car accidents happen, but that doesn't mean that we now cancel cars.
100%.
So social media is a tool for me. Everything I do now, I've learned so much from social media. I have grown so much from social media. I have, I use social media for my mental health.
Yeah.
I use social media to keep me in touch. I find social media to me is a positive thing. And while I'm still adjusting and trying to make it even more positive, it's something that I've used as a tool for my betterment. So you can choose to do the same for yourself as well. Be self-aware. How things make you feel should be a great determinant of whether you continue with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my self-awareness comes from social media. So it's a tool. It's a tool, and it can be used for positive. It can also be negative. I say focus on the positive aspects of it. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Finally.
Yeah, wow, this has really been such a wonderful conversation, and I've also learned a lot in this panel. What I would say in regards to today's topic, social media is very powerful. There is so much that you can actually be able to get out of it. I've gotten so much out of being online. As well, there are the negative parts of it and how it impacts and affects your mental health. My biggest message today, I was going to talk about parenting, but thank you, Shiv, for that. I would not repeat on that. Mine would go to the young people, or rather just basically everyone in regards to comparison. There'll always be somebody ahead of you, another person behind you, and you'll be somewhere. I mean, everybody has a different journey. So don't get caught up in unhealthy comparison. An unhealthy comparison looks like upward, where you're looking at this figure who is way up there, and you have like kind of that upward comparison that makes you feel that you're below par, you're inferior, you have not reached, whatever it is. And also the other unhealthy comparison is a downward comparison, where now you get a false inflation of who you are, because you're like,
I've
but
made it.
at a best angle, they have not gotten to where I am, kind of thing. Both forms of comparison are very unhealthy, or can be unhealthy. And being positive means that just understanding that you are unique as a being. You have your own purpose and your own destiny, and you're the only person who is in charge of yourself, of changing or rewriting your own narrative. You have absolutely everything within you to change your whole course of life. It's within you. It's already God-given. It's the only thing you need to do is harness it and make the best out of it. And being unique means that I can go into fitness, but I'll never be like that. I can go into music, but I'll never be like. Everybody has something special, and it's up to you to love your own special, and be be happy in your own special.
I think I like that part, where I can choose to venture into what Shiv does, and I'll still look like Lota. I'll try and sing. Well, we know how that ends. But anyway, everybody that has been watching, thank you so very much. It's been amazing.
Yes,
Talk
it
about
has.
influence of social media on mental health. Shiv, asante sana.
Thank you very much.
Trisha, asante sana.
Okay.
Madam, Aki, you really, Gadoni has really hammered it all home when it comes to how we can help ourselves and how we can seek help. And remember, if you're watching this and you probably need somebody to talk to, you probably need somebody to walk with you in your particular journey. Cases are unique. It can be mental health, it can be mental health issues, it can be different issues when it comes to life, and you think that it's affecting your mental well-being, please feel free to reach out to Isaiah G Karaoke Foundation. Feel free to write us an email, send us a text message. We have a team that is able and willing to reach out to you and ensure you get the requisite help so that you can probably feel better about yourself and probably live your life to the full. So from us, we are really, really grateful for you that has walked with us for the last almost 2 hours. Asanteni sana. Until we meet next time. Quiet.
But then,
No, we didn't get a lot of questions.
Alrighty.
It's like we
Yeah.
coordinated our,
Now I
I
can
just
have a
know.
Yeah, it's like yo.
Yeah, we have snake prints. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it just feels like it
that's
was
Team Rama